You're listening to Careers and Cocktails, Career Talk with a Twist, hosted by expert recruiter Renee Frey. Let's get this party started.
Hey party people, welcome to Careers and Cocktails. Today we have Steph Beedle, who is actually one of my friends, who's also a kick-ass business owner. And we're going to walk through how amazing she really is here. She purchased Japa Salon in 2007 with the intent on raising a new standard in customer service in the Stillwater area. She has had a hand in all aspects of her business, from training to the front desk. She leads her staff with positive and professional hand, and it surely shows. She's an expert in short precision haircutting and a master of blondes, and her hair is gorgeous. It's important for her to maintain the integrity of the hair strand when coloring and educate her clients on the proper care of their hair, which we all need.
Yes.
She was raised in Stillwater and currently lives with her husband and daughter in the St. Croix Valley. So welcome, Steph.
Thank you. That's quite the introduction.
It is, I know, and it's all about you.
Oh my gosh.
So we have a little story. So first I'm going to share how we met. Both of our daughters are in competitive swimming.
Yes.
And my husband is what we call the swim dad. He takes Aubrey to swim, and I'm the dance mom, carting the girls to dance.
Right.
Well, Dustin's sitting in the bleachers with Steph, and they're chit-chatting, and Dustin says, gosh, you and my wife, Renee, would become best friends. Like, you're so similar. You both own businesses. Yeah. You're both go-getters. And he's like, he would come home from the swimming practice and say, Renee, you gotta meet Steph. And he would keep telling Steph,
you gotta meet Renee. You gotta meet Renee. Like, you guys are the same person, dark, but different hair color.
Right.
Yeah.
So finally, one day I have to step in as swim mom and bring Aubrey to practice. And I sit down and hear Steph's like, you must be Renee. And he immediately comes over. We hit it off. We chat the whole time. We even brought the girls together and traveled together. And it's just awesome to have another strong female business owner in my circle that I can bounce ideas off of. So it's been so fun.
It's been so fun. And then, wait, you do have to say, we took a car ride to do this mother-daughter retreat. And Renee and I started talking. We're like, what? How is this all the same? Everything we kept talking about, we're like, wait a second, how did we have that same experience or similar or something?
Right.
It was just crazy. For 2 hours, we talked straight and had either similar viewpoints or similar experiences.
Yeah.
It's
incredible. Which
crazy.
Goes to show you can meet people anywhere that can help further your personal and professional growth.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're sitting in the bleachers, sweating in the swimming pool, and here now we've been friends ever since.
It's crazy.
So it's awesome.
Yes.
And another fun story is I love tequila.
Trip.
Yes. I love tequila. And in college, my car was named Sir Jose, which is embarrassing, but that's the only tequila I could afford. And so my car, Sir Jose, loved tequila. And I'm chatting with one of my friends who enjoys cocktails, and he gets really into the mixology piece, right? And I'm a total amateur enthusiast. And I asked him, his name's John, and I said, John, what is a great skinny margarita? And he looks at me and he's like, well, let's take a step back. Do you like tequila? I'm like, yeah, my car was named Sir Jose in college. And he said, Renee, you should just find a great sipping tequila. So I said, okay, got to throw out some names. So I started typing on my phone, and I have a list of these tequilas. The first one I came to was Casa Azul Reposado. And I went to their website, and it said, best served neat in a champagne flute. And I was like, you are speaking my language, because I love drinking out of a champagne flute. And then you can also have it on the rocks. So we are going to, and there's a bell on the top, because you can never have too much fun, right?
Right.
So I'm going to share a little bit about some of the different tequilas. If you didn't know, there's 5 different types of tequila. There's Blanco, which most of us know as silver. There's Joven, which means young. Reposado, which is what we're going to have. And Reposado is aged for a minimum of 2 months and a maximum of a year. And then there's Añejo, which is aged a minimum of 1 year. And then there's Extra Añejo, which is aged more than 3 years. And for those of you who don't know, tequila has to be produced in the Mexican state of Jalisco, similar to champagne has to be produced in the certain region in France. Tequila has the same requirements, and it has to be made from blue agave plants. They harvest the agaves, and once they're harvested, they cook them in old-fashioned brick ovens for 72 hours. And that's how Casa Azul does it. Once it's cooked, they crush it to extract all the juice. They mix in the yeast so it creates fermentation. And once the fermentation occurs, the alcohol is distilled twice, and then they store it in oak barrels. And that's where you'll get the caramel color of the Casa Azul. And you tell me why you chose this to have today.
Because of you. Well, I mean, you and I are on similar paths for our health and nutrition and our wellness and longevity. And it is really hard to find drinks that are, I don't want to say low carb, but that just don't have a lot of filler or crap in them. And I also like red wine like you do, but in the summer,
it's too hot for red wine. And then when you introduced me to this, I was like, oh my God. And we drank it neat. Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I'm not quite there yet in the world. And so I did it on ice and I was sold. And that's basically what I've drank all summer long. Me and my best friend, I mean, we've gone through a few bottles, enjoyed with other people. But I drink it on the rocks because it's just delicious and it's easy and it makes me feel good, and I can have one drink and feel awesome from it and not even need another one. So
and you don't need all the sugars and additives that you put in a typical margarita, and it's pretty much low cal. So cheers to that. Cheers. Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. I like though that you don't have to add anything.
Right.
Don't even add a lime, don't need anything.
It is that smooth, and it is extremely highly drinkable. So,
and it's like butterscotchy. It's got like a
butterscotch. I
butterscotch.
taste vanilla as well.
Vanilla, yep.
Maybe a hint of caramel.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the above.
It's
I love
so good.
I'm so
too.
happy to be drinking it again.
Me too.
Oh boy. And it's what time of day?
We won't tell anybody.
Okay.
So, Steph, what can we celebrate for you this week?
Oh my gosh, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So I've been in business just over 12 years.
High five to that.
Oh, and I started right at the beginning of the recession. And I knew nothing, but I was young and driven. So anyways, long story short, my numbers have grown every year. And this year is the first year I'm on target to exceed $1 million in sales this year.
Oh my God, that's cheers.
It's like a big deal.
Wow.
Like I got red because I'm like nervous saying it. Because I mean, it's going to happen. It's on track to do more than that. But it's like.
You're going to be a multi-million-dollar business owner.
That's so crazy. And it's funny because I've never manifested this. I'm not making $1 million, just to be clear. But my company is going to make $1 million. That's never been the dialogue in my head. So it's really exciting to like see that that's happening and be in that. And for years, I wouldn't have celebrated something like that. I'd be like, nope, I'm not going to tell anybody. Nope, not going to. And
good for you.
So I'm telling you, because
it's phenomenal.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's a big
and
deal.
I think as business owners, we set goals, and when we achieve them, we get there, and then we're like, we still haven't arrived yet. We get bigger goals, and we keep going. You know what I mean?
And this was never on my radar of a goal, and I'm not positive why. I couldn't probably tell you other than it never occurred to me. I care more about my staff and like their goals and how much they want to make. And I'm more driven by what their goals are. But I mean, as a whole, it's driving my business
absolutely
bigger. So I think because I've been concentrating on their personal avenues, I never thought about the big picture. And that was just pretty exciting.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So pretend I'm a kindergartner. I'm sitting in a little desk at school. There's mini junior Renee there.
Yeah.
Explain to me what you do for a living.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. I was trying to think about how to explain it in a funny way, but you really don't have to. I mean, every single kid that you know has a story about finding mom's kitchen scissors and cutting their hair, and that's kind of what I explained to kindergartners is like, we just do fun stuff with people's hair. We can cut it shorter, we can paint it different colors, and just have fun and make people feel good.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. What did you want to be when you grew up, Steph?
Oh my God. I really wanted to be a pilot. Like super bad wanted to be a pilot. My dad was a pilot, and I thought that would just be the ultimate job for me. And then secretly, I always have a affinity for architecture, and like I used to like drawing and doing blueprint style stuff. But pilot was for sure above and beyond what.
So then how did you end up where you were? Where you are, excuse me.
Well, kind of by default. I'm dyslexic. And I have astigmatism, so my brain is inside down, upside everything, and going to college was impossible for me. So I had to figure out where did I excel, and I've always been very artistically driven. And my aunt, who was a hairdresser, said, Steph, you have the personality that would just kill it in this industry, and you're creative, you should do it. I was like, hell no, I'm not going to be a hairdresser. But my experiences of hairdressers in the 80s and 90s were those like hole-in-the-wall, kind of run-down salons. And I never saw salons in like these beautiful cities with great careers. And I never saw that side of it until I was working at the Mall of America, and I finally had saw this hair show there. And I was like,
that's right. I remember you telling me about that.
Like, you can do killer rock star hair, and not just show hair, but like have a really cool like business. Yeah. And so it wasn't until I saw that where I was like, okay, I could do this.
Awesome.
So,
and walk me through the journey you took to become a hairstylist.
Well, I was going to school at Century College, just taking generals, and I was failing miserably. And I had a professor pull me aside, and she's like, what the hell's going on with you? You're here every day, you're doing the homework, and you're failing miserably. And I got assessed at that time for learning disabilities. I was 20 years old, finally getting assessed for learning disabilities.
Oh my gosh.
Found out at 20, I was dyslexic. I mean, it was ridiculous. But it wasn't until like I was realizing with art that was something I could go into. And so when I found a school in Colorado, I was like failing at Century, found this cosmetology school. My dad took me down there, and I signed up immediately and moved there that fall and never looked back.
Awesome. I love that story.
Yeah.
So how did you decide to go into business for yourself? When did you make that switch?
Well, I had worked at a salon in St. Paul for about almost 2 years, a year and a half, and that salon was closing. And so I moved to Stillwater, and then I was working at Joppa, which I currently own, for a year and a half, and the owner was like, I am done. I can't do this. I can't manage people. I hate this. And I was like, I'll buy it. So dumb. So young and dumb. But that young and dumb, like, I can do this. Right, of course I can. Yeah, that's how.
Well, that's awesome, because look at you now.
I know, but...
And you are the leader of an extremely successful company, and I know you have a large team, and you care about those employees. So what do you attribute your success to?
Really, the brass tacks of it is just hard work. I'm not afraid to get down and dirty. I'm not afraid to scrub a toilet. I'm not afraid to take whatever client walks in the door. And I think me not being afraid to clean a toilet and me not being afraid to do whatever it takes every day there and support my staff to be the same way has made us a success. We're all that way. Right. You know, I can ask somebody else to go change over the laundry, and they're not going to be like, oh, the laundry. They're like, yeah, we got it. It's a team.
It's all hands on deck.
It's all hands on deck. Yeah. We have great days that you're like, oh, yeah, we are a team. And we have days where we're like, oh, what were we thinking?
Right.
You know, but...
We all have days.
I know, but I think because we're all willing to do it, it makes such a difference in the success of the business. You know?
Awesome. How do you, Steph, hire people then that have those characteristics of all hands on deck?
It's difficult. We have an amazing salon business group that supports our company, and my business consultant, Melissa, has just really taught me hire nice people. Just hire nice. You can train the rest. And though I believe that about 90% of the time it works, you know, I just think that you kind of know when you meet somebody if they're willing to do whatever it takes or not. And that does typically come down to somebody being nice or not. Right. They're willing to do it no matter what.
Absolutely. So. And I know you manage a multi-generational workforce.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage that? Do you have tips for hiring leaders on how to manage a multi-generational workforce?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, I've learned to best serve my employees, I have to meet them where they're at. Mm-hmm. So some of them are 19 years old and still living with their parents, and some of them are 30 years old and then having their second child, and they all have different demands and needs. And I treat each of them with respect and regard to what their life is, and that has served me so much better than trying to teach. I mean, they're all treated the same. They're all treated with respect and dignity and like understanding what's going on in their world, but that avenue looks different for each person. Right. And that I think has served me well. I don't believe in a 40-hour work week. I don't believe in making every single one of them be there from open to close. I don't believe in that old mentality that that's what makes a great employee or makes your business successful.
Right.
So
I love that. How do you get to know, since it sounds like you know each one deep and personally, how do you do that without spreading yourself so thin? Or,
you know, I don't know every single one of them as well as some of the ones that have been there longer, but we have a really great training program, and I'm a huge part of that training program. I have had associates that have trained under me, and they're still working at our salon, and I've really gotten to know those not kids, but, you know, young women really, really well. I mean, and I'm so vested in them that sometimes it hurts when you're watching them be like, come on, just pull through. But over the years you do, I mean, we work in 2,000 square feet. We're all in it together. So we know when somebody had a really bad breakup. We know when somebody's husband got a new raise, or, you know, we know all these things, and it's hard to not share in that environment. So though there's ones I know more about, there's ones I don't, and I try and get to know them, and, you know.
And speaking of openness, I'm sure your clients share
everything.
So I say hairstylist slash psychologist. Is that accurate?
So accurate. They need to like teach that more in school also. I mean,
you mean in the cosmetology
I mean,
school?
I don't think people realize how much we take on every day. So people might think it's just you telling me when you're there what's going on in your world. Times that by 7 more people, times that by 5 days a week. That's a lot.
Right.
And some of us are great at processing that, and some of us, it's really hard.
Right.
But it's, you know, it's kind of fun sometimes too. Not gonna lie.
I love it. What's your biggest failure, Steph, and how did you overcome it?
One of my biggest failures is not understanding how money worked in a business. I just kind of thought it was money in, money out, which sounds really normal. Yeah. But I didn't understand the ins and outs of payroll and payroll liabilities and taxes and just all the other elements to it. All I knew how to do was go to work and work hard and make as much money as I possibly could to make sure the bills got paid. Sure. But I had other people taking care of the bills, and that wasn't always getting taken care of, and it wasn't always communicated to me. So I learned the hard way that things weren't being taken care of, and then I had to take the reins and learn it all and be very integrated into it and get the right people in place to make sure all of that side of the business was taken care of, because I almost lost the business because of that. Oh, yeah. It was painful, and it took years to rebuild out of it, years to rebuild out in my personal life from it, because it affected that greatly. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, I think I gained 30 pounds that year from stress.
Oh my gosh.
Of making sure that the bills got taken care of.
Right.
It
But
was
here you are
scary.
today now.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I can say this and I willingly talk about it, is when the IRS comes knocking on your door, you have two options.
Oh my God.
Put your big girl panties on to get to fucking work, or you fold and give in.
Yeah.
And I wasn't willing to fold and give in. I put my big girl panties on and I got to fucking work and worked 10-hour days at least and did what I had to do.
Oh, cheers to that, sister.
But it hurt. I mean, Renee, it hurt. But I don't hide from that stuff because I think more people need to talk about that. I think people see...
I agree.
They see, you know, whatever they want to see on you.
Mm-hmm.
They see the handbag or they see the car. Or they see whatever they want to see, but they don't see the struggle.
Oh my, yeah.
And they also don't even see currently. You know, I'm debating about putting new flooring in, and I'm like, how much is that going to cost? Should I pay myself that month, or should I put it into that? Like, they don't see that dialogue still to this day. They just think...
They think it's
all
rainbows and
fine.
snow cones and unicorns. Little do they know.
With sprinkles and glitter on top. They don't always know.
But all of those battles and obstacles that we face just make us better and stronger, and we keep coming back for more.
Yeah, and I'm not resentful. I should probably really say that. I'm not resentful of what happened and what I didn't know. I take ownership of it. I don't sit here and blame the other people involved.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Same.
And then you learn more from that,
Of course.
too. You know?
Totally. So we both share a growth mindset. We're
Yes.
constantly learning, growing, and be better than we were yesterday. How did you develop that mindset? And how did you go from like old Steph to then growth mindset? Or maybe you've always been growth mindset.
I think came out of the womb that way. I was born 5.5 weeks early, and I think I've just always been fighting ever since. You know.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, I think my mom has always said that I just came out like guns blazing. Like, taking life, let's do it. And
Sure.
I don't remember ever a time where, other than I had a moment when I worked for the old owner of the salon where I really was like, what am I doing in this world? And I had a moment where I was depressed and I didn't want to get out of bed and I struggled, but that was small, you know. But I've always, since I was a kid, wanted bigger, better, faster, higher, you know.
Sure.
My whole life. But I think as we get older, we start to refine that, start to know what do I really want, what's really going to serve me, and then get rid of the stuff that you don't need to fight as hard for.
Absolutely. So what tips do you have for our listeners on where to start in having more of a growth mindset?
I think you have to determine what's truly valuable to you. And it's going to be different from every person. You know, for me, I personally like personal growth. I really like pushing myself. And for me, I research a lot. I listen to podcasts. I ask friends advice, or we talk about things and I learn from that. I think finding the avenue that serves you best to find growth is important. Some people don't do well with books. I don't myself, but I'm starting to. I've read the books you've given me. Actually, were you the one that told me to read Stress Less, Accomplish More?
That was
I cannot
not me.
figure out.
That was not me.
Somebody referred me to this book, and it's all about this daily meditation that you do 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon. It's literally to help, like an exercise to relax your body so that your brain gets a moment to like get rid of past stress so that you can manifest what you're doing.
Sure.
I cannot figure out who told me that.
It wasn't me.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay, well, I'm going to
it
send
wasn't
it to you to read, too.
me. Okay, perfect. I'll read it.
Because you got me into meditating. The
Yeah.
Headspace.
Yep, the Headspace app, which I still do to this day.
Yeah, so this is a whole different side of it. But I
fantastic.
research those things to figure out, and then if it serves me, I kind of keep going in that arena. If it's not quite serving me, I look for something else.
Awesome. I love it. And doing hair can be emotionally, physically challenging.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle that? How do you educate your team on handling that? Because you're standing up for your work day.
Yeah.
And your hands, I can't even imagine, like,
Yeah.
the taxing effect it has on their hands. And
Well, I think it's different for every single individual in our industry. Yes, we do stand all day long and we hold our arms like this all day long. For me, it requires me to eat a certain way. I try to eat as healthy as possible so my joints don't get sore. I exercise really hard to keep my stamina for being able to do what I do, and building muscle so that I don't start going like this, because it's really easy for all of us to like sit like this.
Sure.
So I try and help my stylists by encouraging them to exercise and eat well and use their body. Because if you're just standing there like this, I mean, it hurts.
Right.
It does.
I can only imagine. Mm-hmm. What gives you the greatest satisfaction, Steph?
That's a harder question for me to answer. I don't know what gives me the greatest satisfaction. I actually love doing stuff like this. This actually fulfills something inside of me and satisfies me. One of the things that really does is watching my employees have huge successes or having huge struggles and then overcoming them. That stuff just rocks my world.
I know. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
It's so good. And now as a stylist, you and your team are helping people enhance their appearance, which to me means personal brand.
Yep.
Any tips you can share with our listeners on if they're going for an interview or anything of that nature, of hair tips that men and women can benefit from?
I think taking your time to do your hair is worth doing, even though I'm probably the laziest hairdresser you're going to meet. I actually had to have somebody else do my hair today because I came to work with a dirty ponytail. I'm terrible. But I think showing up to something like this and feeling your best means having your hair done. It means putting some extra makeup on, means putting on clothes that fit appropriately. Like, I think you have to put yourself out there in the best way possible, no matter what you're trying to achieve. And, dress for the part sometimes.
Absolutely.
Like today I was like, ooh, if I show up in all black, that's not going to look good. So I thought about, I figured you'd have a light. I figured we'd be doing, I was like, ooh, green looks good on me. We're going to,
sure.
Think about what you're going into and how can you look your best for that. And then take the time to do it.
Yeah.
If you can't do it, ask somebody else to do it for you.
Right. Or, as I did, I was struggling with curling my hair. And so I bought a curling iron from her and she gave me some tips. She's like, if you want less of the spiral curl, turn down the heat. Mm-hmm. And then she kind of showed me the motions at the swim bench on how to curl my hair. So...
Yeah, and they're just little tricks. My mom never taught me how to do my hair. And my mom's got this mane of hair, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful hair. And I never learned how to do hair. I mean, literally, this was my world. Like, high pony all the time. So I'm, like I said, I'm the laziest hairdresser. But, learning how to do it.
Oh, it's hard.
It's hard.
You guys make it look so flawless.
But the best secret, oh my God, just come in if you have something going on. Come into the salon. We will wash and blow out your hair and get it ready so you feel your best to go either to like an interview or an event or something. I mean, that's a good secret. I think our generation grew up with our grandmothers going to the salon and getting their hair washed and roller set. And I think people still have this idea that that's what would happen if you went there. And it's so not that. I mean, this is all washed, blown out, curled, and...
Right. So go to the salon and get ready before your appearances.
Yes.
And Steph, if you could sit down with your 20-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Keep going.
Keep going.
You got nothing to lose. Just keep going.
Yeah. Which you're still doing to this day.
Is it going to stop?
No.
Are you going to stop?
No.
What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
My gosh. Mm-hmm. My 20-year-old self. That's funny. No one's asked me my own question yet. I would say that's tough. There's so much I could say.
Were you in college when you were 20?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. Did you know what you were going to college for?
No, I was the 5-year plan, 2 different colleges, 3 different majors.
Right.
Had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But my 20-year-old self, I would probably say fear doesn't exist. It's all in your head. And because that's what I feel has limited me the most is this, you get into when you try something different or you're trying a new initiative with your business And then there's this like nervousness, which is fear, but it's all fictitious. It's all made up in our heads.
Yeah.
And if we could just eliminate the fear, which I feel I've done an excellent job of this past year because I've done so much growth, personal growth and mindset growth, that I am able to achieve more by not having that fear. But it's if I could tell my 20-year-old self that, I would have done way more than I've done up until this point. So it's like, don't let fear hold you back is what I would tell my 20-year-old self.
Yeah. So then are you going to tell yourself that now even more?
Well, I don't have fear anymore. I've hit the fear bottom.
Really?
Absolutely.
How do you know that?
Because I don't have any hesitation. I don't get those emotional feelings anymore.
Okay.
I take action.
Sure.
So I think has to do with meditation, has to do with writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for every day. I used to have constant, like 500 voices in my head racing at all times. And 3 years ago, I stopped all that noise by meditating and then writing the gratitude thing and changing if I heard a negative thought in my head, I would ask myself, how true is that?
Right.
And it's not true. Your response is not true. And then I would reframe what I was thinking and keep moving forward. And now with my daily practices, I'm here in the moment. I'm thinking the thoughts that I have right now for the interaction between the two of us.
Yeah.
And I'm more fully present than I ever have been. So when I think about fear, there's nothing to worry about if it hasn't happened yet. So why would I be scared of something that hasn't happened yet?
Right.
So I tell myself, there's no fear.
Right.
Just take action. Because when you take action and you take one step towards something, the world just unfolds and miracles occur before your eye. I mean, it's tremendous. It's like you have to be open to it though too, right?
Yeah. And I think so many people are afraid of failing. So that forefront of the fear of it, they're not even willing to jump into the arena of it.
Right.
So if you're able to clear that path of there, I think it opens up more space for you to dive in deeper and try new things and fail, maybe.
Absolutely. I failed 5 million times.
Yeah. And you're going to fail 5 million more times. Otherwise, how are you going to create a different level of success for yourself?
Of course.
You know, and not being afraid of it. I mean, it might hurt, but...
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it does hurt.
Things hurt.
Yeah. But guess what? Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah. and I mean, I think that I do notice with some of the younger kids, they are so afraid to just step into it. They're so afraid to fail because they don't know how to, or they've never seen how it feels. I mean, they might fail a test, but that only hurts so much. But like taking a risk and failing, you know, they're so afraid of that they're not even willing to take the risk anymore. And I mean, I get it. I do get it. But I think that's where you and I definitely stand alone, is we're not afraid to fail.
No. And I personally believe life begins outside of your comfort zone.
Well, right. I mean,
there's incredible things to be had. We are smarter than we think we are. We're stronger than we think we are. We are capable of so much more than we think we are. And I think that's where we need to get out of our own ways, really.
It's true. And I think that's where your meditation is probably taking you to that place of being able to do it. Because it is. I mean, it's all mental.
Absolutely. It's all mental.
Our own mental limitations. It's not even like a real limitation. There is no limits.
There are none.
I don't think there's any limits.
You can do anything. You really can.
Absolutely.
Any one of us can do anything. You could be the next Amazon. Someone could beat out the next Amazon. I mean,
it's all possible.
It is all possible.
Yeah.
And with that, where can our listeners find you, Steph?
Oh my gosh. I'm just kidding. Well, they can find us in Stillwater, in the Valley Creek Mall by Acapulco's. It's always our flagship place where we tell people we're by because we love Acapulco's. And you can find us online at japasalon.com, and you can actually see all of our stylist work on our website and on Facebook and Instagram. We have a pretty interactive Facebook and Instagram account, so you can see our stylists and the work they're doing. We try and do some live stuff for you guys to see during the day also.
Yeah, it's super cool because I follow you guys on Facebook and I always see it and I'm like, oh my God, so gorgeous.
Yeah.
The hair and stuff that you guys produce. For all of you hiring managers, to download my free strategic hiring guide on how to uncover and find the best talent, go to careersandcocktails.com. And for job seekers, you can head to the same website to figure out where to purchase my book, I Hate Mondays, to help you find your next job. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss an update. Cheers!
Cheers!